Ukraine says it foiled a Russian plot to assassinate President Vladimir Zelensky. Two colonels from Ukraine's state guard tasked with protecting officials were arrested for their alleged involvement in the scheme. Zelensky says there have been multiple attempts to assassinate him as the war with Russia stretches on. Reports of this recent attempt came the same day Vladimir Putin was inaugurated for a fifth term as president. Putin has served the entire 21st century. If he completes this 6-year term, he'll become the longest-serving Russian leader since Empress Catherine the Great in the 18th century. Let's bring in David Herszenhorn for more. He is international desk editor for the Washington Post, overseeing coverage of Russia's war in Ukraine. David is also the author of The Dissident, Alexei Navalny, Profile of a Political Prisoner. Thank you so much for being here with us. During the inauguration speech, Putin didn't offer any new policy. As someone who has extensively covered the region, has much changed since his inauguration ceremony all the way back in 2000?
Oh, quite a lot has changed. And, you know, this is not just the fifth presidential term for Putin, but it's really a quarter century as Russia's supreme political leader. Remember, he started as acting president after Boris Yeltsin resigned. He's been avoiding circumventing term limits since 2008, when he first came up against them, swapping jobs for one term with Dmitry Medvedev, who was then the prime minister. So this ceremony today, you saw, was really a way of highlighting his complete and total authority over Russia. The ceremony held in the Grand Kremlin Palace in a room where czars used to be crowned. To call it an inauguration is really a misnomer, because there was no chance that anybody other than Putin was going to win in what they called an election, but we know didn't meet basic democratic standards. No, go ahead.
Speaking of democratic standards, that makes me think about the population and the populace in Russia. What's your sense of the support for what he's been doing for 2 years in Ukraine and his sort of larger project?
Well, we've started publishing a series in the Washington Post this week, Russia Remastered, about just how huge a transformation is underway in Russia in parallel with the war in Ukraine. He is militarizing his society. He's always had a base of support, there's no question, but there's also no alternative. And now he's really programming a whole generation to treat the West as enemies, to view the United States as an enemy, repeating over and over again that Russia is at war with NATO. We know that's absolutely not the case. Russia crossed into Ukraine with tanks and missiles. So really a dramatic transformation underway since his last term. As you know, Navalny, his most formidable political opponent, is dead. Most of the Russian opposition now either exiled, imprisoned, or dead. Vladimir Kara-Murza just won a Pulitzer Prize, contributing opinion writer to the Washington Post, in jail 25 years for treason. All he wants is a democratic Russia. It's very difficult to gauge where Russians truly feel, because when we talk to them, they're afraid.
Yes, absolutely. David, give me a sense of Putin's larger ambitions. I was struck by a report that European intelligence officials say basically to their various countries, beware of attacks from Russia, that this isn't just an ideology. There is muscle behind this. Is that right?
There is no question Putin's mission is to make Russia great again. He's looking to restore the superpower status that Moscow enjoyed during the Soviet era. And this is part of the invasion of Ukraine. Will it stop with Ukraine? We know he invaded Georgia. We know there are troops in Moldova, in Transnistria. Putin has grander ambitions. This is why the West has reacted as strongly as it has, supporting Ukraine, hoping that the fight can be contained there. But there's no question that Putin has a vision of Russia as a renewed superpower. This is the series that we're writing about now in the Washington Post, a militarized, powerful country that can upend the U.S.-led global order, that will make its own rules, that will not be dictated to, where authoritarianism should be respected as a legitimate alternative to democracy. It's a very different kind of place than what folks had hoped for when the Soviet Union collapsed.
It is an extraordinary piece of work that you're doing in the Post, and I wonder if you, as a final question, can help educate viewers about the kinds of questions they should be thinking about in terms of U.S. policy with respect to Putin. We're in a presidential year. How should they think about what the president, whoever it may be, has to think about Putin and his ambitions?
Well, John, you're a political reporter, and this is also an American political story. This is about democracy and about freedom. It's a civilizational fight Ukraine wants to be a normal democratic country. Putin trying to stop that, trying to seize, this is part of his ambitions, 4 regions of Ukraine, in addition to Crimea, which he already invaded and annexed in 2014. So what Americans should understand and look to their leaders to respond to is a threat, real threat to democracy, including American democracy.
David Herszenhorn with the Washington Post. Thank you so much for coming on, David. For passionate columns written under great personal risk, the 2024 Pulitzer Prize for Commentary went to Washington Post contributor Vladimir Kara-Murza. The 42-year-old Russian politician and author was convicted of treason last year for criticizing the war in Ukraine. He delivered these remarks during the closing session of his trial in Moscow, which the Washington Post later published. The day will come when the darkness over our country will dissipate, when black will be called black and white will be called white, when at the official level it will be recognized that 2 times 2 is still 4, when a war will be called a war and a usurper, and when those who kindled and unleashed this war, rather than those who tried to stop it, will be recognized as criminals. Even today, even in the darkness surrounding us, even sitting in this cage, I love my country and believe in our people. I believe that we can walk this path. Kara-Murza is serving out a 25-year prison sentence in Siberia. His lawyers say he's being held in solitary confinement, but his message will live on, bolstered by his will to live. His most recent column is titled, "I am proud to have spoken out against Putin's crimes in Ukraine."